On this crucial story, we cross to our reporter Aldrin Sampear, who's in our Pretoria studios. He was following proceedings today. Good evening to you, Aldrin. In summary, would you say that the parties will now be able to fight for the release of the state capture report, basically in a nutshell?
Well, definitely. When the matter resumes tomorrow, that is the crux of the matter that will happen on tomorrow morning, is that the focus will be around the merits of the case, the application brought by President Jacob Zuma that the state capture report should not be released. But quite interestingly is that before we get to the merits of the case, there will be an amendment to the application by President Jacob Zuma. Remember that the initial application by President Jacob Zuma is to interdict the release of the report by the former Public Protector Thuli Madonsela. Now that report has now been preserved as per the court ruling previously about 2 weeks ago, that report has been preserved. He's now amended his application and wants the report to be declared null and void, arguing around the validity of the report. And this stems from the response that he got from the new Public Protector, Mkhwebane, who indicated that she's got advice from the Office of the Public Protector and the Council, those who worked with the previous Public Protector, Thuli Madonsela, indicating that the report, as it's been kept under lock and key, is the final report. And President Jacob Zuma's big argument is around the procedural, there hasn't been procedural fairness that has been granted to him as per the Public Protectors Act, saying that when somebody is implicated in a matter, Section 7.9, which says that when somebody is implicated in a matter, you should be sending questions to that person and be allowing that person an opportunity to question witnesses. And that's the crux of the matter. The President Jacob Zuma is arguing that based on that, the report itself cannot be valid. But of course, you have the opposition parties that are arguing, specifically the DA, that says that the report should be released. And if President Jacob Zuma is not happy with the findings of the Public Protector, he's more than welcome to take the report under judicial review.
So the President can fight now, as you say, against the validity of the report itself. But Minister Des van Rooyen is out of the matter with costs. Explain why he failed.
Well, remember that it was actually this whole interdict, the process of the interdict started with Minister Des van Rooyen just days before then Public Protector Thuli Madonsela was about to release the report. It was Des van Rooyen who first interdicted or tried to interdict Thuli Madonsela. He went to court. That matter was heard on the Friday, the last day of Madonsela's stay in office. There was an undertaking from the Council of the Public Protector that the report in its current state has been finalized by Madonsela, does not have any adverse findings against him. This is Des van Rooyen. Then there was the application that was brought by President Jacob Zuma, which was supposed to have been heard the next Tuesday. It was then decided by all the parties that were together in that case that the matter should then be consolidated and it will be heard on the 1st, which is today. During the process of getting to the 1st, Des van Rooyen then decided that he will withdraw his application to interdict the release of the report, since Thuli Madonsela has indicated through a council that there is no adverse findings against him, Des van Rooyen. Subsequently, this past Sunday, with the Sunday Times report indicating that they've received evidence as well as evidence from investigators who are part of the state capture investigation and who worked with the former Public Protector Thuli Madonsela, that Des van Rooyen actually was more than 7 days, consecutive days at Saxonwold, days just before he was appointed as the Minister of Finance in December. And he says that based on that, the inference that is drawn from that, it sounds as though that the Public Protector's report does have some sort of implication against him. So there is that sense of suspicion, as they put it, that the Public Protector's report, as it is, does implicate Des van Rooyen. And the arguments from the judges as well as from the opposition parties is that does the report, this is now the Sunday Times report, indicate specifically that the information that they have is contained in the final report, and that article doesn't indicate that. So obviously around the matter around whether this matter is urgent or not, and then the argument from some of the councils here, especially from the opposition parties, is that the minister cannot apply to be part of a case and then retract and then apply again to be part of the case. And another issue, of course, was also his opposition to the EFF, UDM and COPE being party to this application, or being intervening parties in the application, yet he's accepting the intervention by the DA, which he says he was accepting on the basis that the DA is the main complainant in the state capture report.
All right, so many parties to the case, as you say, making it a little bit complicated, but these preliminary proceedings only taking a day. Tomorrow, as you say, the meteor matter begins. What's expected? How long could it last?
Well, it could last the whole day. Some people are actually expecting that we could even find that it might even last up until Wednesday. But an undertaking from the Judge President Dustin Mlambo, when he was speaking earlier on, when he was actually speaking to the Council of the Minerals Minister, Mr. Musebenzi Zwane, indicating that, listen, we are willing to sit up until midnight to hear this matter, because it is a matter that has been brought on an urgent basis, and they want this matter to be dealt with. So they've taken great steps in ensuring that this matter is being dealt with. And you've considered the urgency in which they even heard Minister Des van Rooyen's case. It was just within a matter of hours after hearing his application, Minister Des van Rooyen, after even seeking postponement of the case, after saying that he wasn't furnished with the papers, he didn't have enough time from the opposition parties, and said they needed more time to file responding affidavits. And you had the court saying that, listen, we're giving you up until 2:15 in the afternoon to respond and file your responding affidavits, and that was done and dusted. And this just indicates the urgency in which the court finds this case to be at.
All right, thank you very much, Aldrin Sampear, reporting for us live from Pretoria, and we will of course continue to follow those matters as the President tries to block the release of the report, and various political parties have now been given the right to fight for the release of that report into state capture.